We're on. Okay.
You look great.
Becky, do you want to squeeze so you can fit in?
Yeah. Do you want the chatting up or
not? Yes, please. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, and welcome to the call. Thank you so much for joining. It's absolutely amazing to have so many of you here tonight. This is the Labour Legends conference call, where we're going to be explaining the key elements of the Labour Legends role and what you need to do in order to get started. So while we're waiting for everyone else to come online, please do introduce yourselves in the chat box on the right-hand side. Tell us if you're involved in your local group, either Momentum or Labour. Tell us if you were involved in the general election in 2017 and went out canvassing then. And also tell us if you're brand new to campaigning. I was really excited looking through some of the forms of the people who signed up to be a Labour Legend already, and we've got loads of people who are completely new to campaigning, and that is just absolutely brilliant because that means that our movement is growing all the time. So that's great news. So yeah, please do introduce yourself in the comments and yeah, say hi on there. Let's see if, yeah, that's great. We've got lots of people introducing themselves on there. We've got some newbies, people from all across the country. So really brilliant stuff. Over to you, Santi, for some technical info.
So I just want to say that if you haven't got the chat box open already, make sure you do. You can do this by clicking on the chat icon, which is a speech bubble, which you can probably see on your screens now. It should be down at the bottom if you've got it in full screen. The other thing is, if you're calling in by phone, unfortunately, you won't be able to use the chat box during this call, but don't worry. We know you're there. You'll still be able to hear us talk, and we'll be sending in key links that we're posting in through the chat down to, we'll be sending out through an email, so nothing will be lost. Also, while we're waiting, just want to say that if you've got any technical questions throughout the call, please go to peoplesmomentum.com and click the small icon of the speech bubble, ask a question, and a volunteer will respond straight away.
Okay, amazing. So I think we've now given everyone a couple of minutes. We've got loads of you on here already, 165. That's absolutely brilliant. Coming through for a Zoom call to find out about extra volunteering. That's great news. So yeah, so I think we should get started. So welcome to our Labour Legends Zoom call. I'm Chloe. I work at Momentum. I'm going to be helping to coordinate our Labour Legends volunteers, and I'll be moderating the call this evening.
My name's Santi. I lead the campaigns team here at Momentum, and I'll just be kind of breaking down some of the key information and things you need to know to get this kind of Labour Legends program started.
Amazing. So we're also incredibly lucky to have none other than Becky Bond with us here this evening. Becky worked on the 2016 Bernie Sanders campaign in the US, and her book Rules for Revolutionaries, which I have a copy of here, is basically the ultimate guide to campaigning. So yeah, Becky is basically the expert on people power campaigning, and it's a real privilege to have you here with us this evening. So hi, Becky. Before we get started, I just want to give you an overview of what we're talking about in this call. So we know you're all super busy. Some of you will have been working on our online teams this evening. Some of you will even have been out canvassing. So we're going to keep this short. We're hoping to have everything wrapped up by 8:30 and then have a little bit of time for questions. So yeah, above all, this is a 101 guide to Labour Legends. Most of you on this call will have already signed up to be a Labour Legend. That's great. If you haven't yet, pop over to labourlegends.com and sign up now. If there's anything you're not sure about, then don't worry too much, just have a go. This is the beginning of a conversation with us about how you can contribute as a Labour Legend, and the main thing is to get that process started. If there's any questions you're not sure about, don't worry about them too much. Yeah, we'll be in touch again, and the main thing is to sign up. So if you haven't already, go to labourlegends.com. Links for that should be coming out in the chat box very shortly. So yeah, look out for those there. So yeah, on the call tonight, Becky's going to be telling you a little bit about exactly why stepping up to be a Labour Legend is so important, and sharing some key experiences from her campaigning in the US. Santiago is going to talk you through all the key info you need to get started as a Labour Legend, including what you can expect from us. We'll then have some time to take questions, which we'll be able to post in the comment box. At some point, we may even have a visit from a very special guest who is out canvassing this evening and is hopefully going to call in just quickly to say hi to you. But if that does happen, it will be our first ever Zoom drop-in from the Labour doorstep. So, you know, we've got big hopes, but no absolute promises. We will have to wait and see. So yeah, mostly we're going to just get started with Becky. So over to you, Becky. I was hoping you could tell us a bit about why becoming a Labour Legend is important. Yeah, why does this matter?
Okay, hi everyone. As Chloe said, I'm Becky Bond, and I'm so honored to be talking with you tonight. Back in 2016, I worked on the Bernie Sanders campaign, helping to build the biggest volunteer voter contact program ever seen in a presidential primary in the United States. And what we learned back then, and what our comrades in the Corbyn movement were also discovering at the same time, was that people are willing to do big things to win big change. So in my country and in your country, at around the same time, we found out there's this huge capacity in the grassroots that's just waiting to be called into service. And with the right support and resources, people could make big commitments and then follow through on those commitments to put victory within reach, even in the most long shot campaign. So you are the best of these people. You're the people who, at the most important time of the campaign, are ready to set aside so many responsibilities in your lives, to throw yourselves into full-time work to win the change we so desperately need. Now, Momentum has a plan to win. Chloe, Santi, and their comrades here, they've calculated that in the 150 most marginal constituencies in the country, there are around 2 million target doors that you'll need to knock on over the next 6 weeks of the election period. They estimate that together your movement's going to need over 5,000 people to do 8 full days of door knocking over the election period in order to win. And that simply will not be possible without people like you, people willing to take time away from their families, taking time away from work, taking time away from school, taking time away from other important commitments that we all have. Now, in order to hit this bold 2 million door goal, we need thousands of people to volunteer full-time for a week or 2 weeks, or some people, even the full campaign. And we need you to spend that time contacting voters and supporting targeted voter contact activities in these 150 targeted marginals. Now, why is this important? It's because according to our plan, it's what we need to do to win. So what will you as labor legends be doing? Well, the most important thing anyone can do at this stage in the election is talk to voters. Doesn't matter who you are, if you're a lawyer, if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, if you're a student, talking to voters is the most important thing, because this is how we convince people to vote labor. This is how we make sure our voters actually register and then turn out of the polls. Now, no activity you can take part in can have a bigger impact on the number of votes that labor is going to get on polling day than having persuasive one-on-one conversations with voters on the doorstep or on the phone. So we have a plan. 150 marginals are targeted. The time for strategizing is over. We know what we have to do, and we have to do it in massive numbers, enough to win. So some of you, you're going to need to travel across the country to places where full-time canvassers are urgently needed to talk to voters key to winning crucial seats. And some of you will stay for a week in those places, some for 2 weeks. You may have relatives that you can stay with. You may find local supporters that you don't know, but who will put you up and you'll get to know them. This is a big sacrifice, but we need some of you to do this. Others of you live close to key marginals, and you'll volunteer from home, but every day you'll travel to a nearby marginal by bus or rail or in your car. You'll do this for a week or more. You'll spend all day, every day, helping to run local canvasses and run local phone banks. Now, a few of you will be pulled into key roles here in London, supporting those who are out on the doors or running those phone banks. Now, I can't stress enough how key these voter contact activities are to winning enough votes to put labor over the top. We know, because we've heard it again and again, it's either socialism with Jeremy Corbyn or disaster capitalism with Boris Johnson. And what happens on polling day is literally up to amazing volunteers like all of you.
Thanks, Becky. I think those parallels of Bernie's campaign in the US are so inspirational, and it's really incredible to have movements for socialism on both sides of the Atlantic, which are demonstrating so absolutely what people power can achieve. This is just a quick reminder for everyone on the call. If you haven't already, you must fill out our Labour Legends form. Go to Labour Legends. I'm just getting the full email address. Go to labourlegends.com. If there is anything you're not sure about, like I said before, just have a go. The main thing is to get that form filled in, and we'll be in touch with you. So if there's anything you're not sure about, you can talk through that with us then. Hopefully most of you have filled in the Labour Legends form. If you have, there's going to be one other ask in this call, which is to join our Labour Legends Facebook group. Make sure that you join that. A link to that is going to be going out in the call really shortly. Amazing. Right. I am just dealing really quickly with a tiny technical issue. So I was wondering while we started if you could all just comment in the Zoom box to say how many days you think you're going to be prepared to campaign full time to get Jeremy Corbyn elected. So hopefully I'll be back in 1 minute with the updated information. But in the meantime, I'm really excited to see how many days you're able to commit to the campaign. Okay, that should be fixed now. Oh my goodness, 14, 5 to 10, 9, 5 to 6, 8, possibly more, 10, 7 days, whole campaign. Woo! Great stuff from Alex. 7 to 14, 14. Muted. How did that happen? I got muted, Robert, apparently. Yeah, you know, before I was working for Momentum, I was a teacher. You really can't take time off as a teacher. Sometimes it breaks my heart because I want to take election day off, and like you just it would be really irresponsible. Yeah, so not everybody can, but this is about doing what you can. So amazing, brilliant to see all of you making those really fantastic commitments. This is exactly the sort of people power that is going to help us win this election, and I'm super excited about it. So yeah, amazing, great stuff, everybody. Keep telling us how many days you're able to do, because it makes me feel really excited, and hopefully everyone else on the call. And we're now over to Santi, who's going to tell us a bit about the process for Labour Legends and how it's all going to work.
Thank you very much, Chloe. Thanks, Becky, for the great introduction. So I think, just kind of cap off what Becky said, I think it just comes down to Jeremy Corbyn is a leader we've never had in the Labour Party before. And to kind of get something we've never had before, we've got to do something we've never done before. And that's scale up on a size that's never been seen before in the UK, and make commitments that volunteers have never had to do before in the UK as well. I think Momentum wants to be the vehicle which allows people, those who are ready to make those commitments, to do it in the most effective way possible, up and down the country, in the most effective places possible. So I think the initial ask was, you know, can you commit 1 week of campaigning for the election campaign? And when we sent out the initial ask, we were kind of amazed about how many responses we had. We've currently got about 750 people who signed up, and a poor volunteer worked out that will be cumulatively 12 years of collective time has just been volunteered to get Jeremy Corbyn elected. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means our next role now is to make sure that every single year of that time is well spent up and down the country.
Every single second.
Every single second is well spent up and down the country. So the initial ask was just to kind of get a list of who's excited, who wants to be involved, and what you can commit. The next steps will be every single person who signed up will get a phone call from activists here, and they'll fill out a second form. And that form is kind of the key part of this whole process, because with that detail, we'll be able to understand where you can be placed and how you can be placed. So, you know, we've asked people to commit a week. There'll be those of you who can't commit any daytime, but you know that you can commit every single evening or weekend. You know, we have a place for you. There are things you can do. If you have accessibility issues, let's say you're housebound, or maybe in a wheelchair, which means you can't be as active on the doorstep as you want to be, there are still places we can place you. If you have the time, we can use it. For those of you, though, where you can get out and about, we need that extra detail to find out where you can go and where you can be. So the role we'll be playing is pairing you guys up with the places where you'll be most impactful. So we're already having conversations with staff in the Labour Party, local CLPs, campaign groups up and down the country. I'm trying to work out what their needs are and what they can provide, and then pairing you guys up. We're also going to try and work on systems which allow you to kind of travel down to places together, places for you to stay, and just basically we want to be the network hub which allows those who've got the year, you know, the minutes, the hours, the weeks of time to commit to this campaign, to do it as easily and simply as possible. And we've got staff dedicated to make this happen and work. So I think the two key things you need to look out for are the phone calls you're going to get over the next few days. So if you don't pick up from numbers you don't usually know, pick it up. You might get someone asking about car insurance, but it's worth the struggle to hear from one of our volunteers. And then also fill in the follow-up form, which gives us the detail to allow you to place you effectively.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Santi. Yeah, I think we've already got so much amazing information from you with the first form, and this is just going to be a couple of key extra bits so that we can really make sure that we get you placed like in exactly the best place. So yeah, amazing. And I know the people who are going to be calling around are really looking forward to speaking to all of you. So just going to remind you one more time, just in case you haven't already, if you haven't yet, please do go to labourlegends.com and fill in the form there. It's really, really important to get that form filled in so that we can be in touch with you and send you the next steps. The other thing which Santi kind of already touched upon is the Facebook group, which we've literally just set up tonight. As soon as I finish this call, I'm going to be going on there and accepting everybody onto the group. It's just a private kind of page where people are going to be able to post comments. It will mainly be to talk to each other. You know, you might be like, oh, has anyone had their call yet? Various different sort of questions and opportunity really for you to form a community of volunteers who are going this extra mile, who are stepping up. As Becky said, you guys are like the most important people in this campaign because you're the ones who are saying, yeah, I will go to that next level. I will become a Labour legend. So brilliant. So what would be really great now is if we could have some questions. So if you do have any questions, please post them in the chat box. Santi is going to be in charge of monitoring all of the questions, and he's going to then sort of consolidate them into a few key ones, which me and Becky will try and answer. Or maybe I should consolidate the questions and you can answer them.
I think between the three of us, I can see that.
That way it means I don't have to have any of the answers.
So I think the question that keeps coming up right now is about ways to get involved that are outside the Facebook group. So I think we're going to set up different platforms and ways for people to get involved. So for those of you who haven't got Facebook for personal reasons, because you hate the platform, I mean, I've got Facebook and I hate it. You know, there'll be different ways for people to get involved. And platforms for you guys to just have these discussions. So just because we're setting up a Facebook group, it doesn't mean there won't be other outlets for people to engage with. Yes, we will be doing the first contact by phone. Like I said, we'll have a team of volunteers calling up all people who've signed up to kind of like gauge what you can commit and how you can commit.
Brilliant. Shall I take a question, then you take a question? And then if there's any specifically that we think Becky is best equipped to answer, we can do. So yeah, lots of people are asking about the actually there's so many questions, it's really hard to
so there's a couple. There was one about travel, which I think
really that important. Was what I was going to answer. Yeah, travel. Do you want to do travel?
So basically for compliance reasons, I mean, if we paid for everyone's travel to go or up and down the country, A, we don't have the money, but B, we wouldn't have the regulated spend to do that because we're limited by the Electoral Commission. But I think one of the key roles that we want to play is to make sure that people have the carpools necessary, or you know, the ability to go down to places together. I mean, sometimes, and also like we'll be placing people within their means. So you know, when no one who's, you know, if you live in Hackney, we're not going to say you're going to have to go to Glasgow every afternoon. We'll be and you know, if for reasons you can't travel too far, there will still be a place for you. So you know, there'll be ways, and I think that's why we need to fill in this form, is because we need to kind of understand these circumstances and then build around it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Definitely. Like if you're already based in a marginal, then you're going to be based there. If you're able to travel to or stay in a marginal, then we will like definitely ask you to do that. But the important, like one of I think the most exciting things about this election is we have so many different ways for everyone to get involved, and it really actually doesn't matter where you're based. It doesn't matter what your schedule is like. It doesn't matter whether or not you're able to leave the house. Like we will find ways for you to be able to really make such important contributions. Phone banking is, you know, is a winter election. It's going to be a little bit different to the general election in 2017, and phone banking is going to be a really, really important part of us contacting all of our voters. So it's actually, you know, you can do that from home. So it definitely doesn't matter if you're not based in or near a marginal. It doesn't matter if you have a particular schedule. We can definitely accommodate all of that. But at the same time, if you are able to travel to a marginal, if you are able to be based in a marginal, then that will mean that you're able to be having those face-to-face conversations in those key areas. So we want to accommodate that where we can. So yeah, amazing.
So there was a couple other questions. So the first one was about, you know, what if this is your first time campaigning? So you won't be alone. Like I said, the idea is we're not just going to kind of send you to places by yourself. You'll be there. You'll be sent to like CLPs, places that already have networks, places where you'll be put to work, who are experienced in managing volunteers and kind of putting your time to use. And the other thing is I think today actually there's about to be an email going out, which is going to have packs and resources about, you know, how to have conversations on the doorstep, how to do voter registration events, how to host local trainings to skill up people you have locally. So, you know, even if this is your first time campaigning, we'll have the resources for you to skill yourself up, skill up other people, and get you ready to be on the doorstep.
Yeah. Brilliant. There's one really good question here, which I would like to pick up on, which is, if we're already going on a campaign team for a marginal, can we still be involved with the Legend scheme? So just something to sort of reiterate is, this is not about us taking you out of communities where you're already campaigning really effectively. It's not about us saying to you, oh, we want you to go here. If you've got a really good idea for campaigning in another city or where you're already based, this is about us talking to you about what you're able to offer for this election. If you're really invested in a community in your hometown, then even if that's not a marginal, it might well be that the most important thing for you to do is to stay there, be hosting phone banks, be organising a Let's Go group. And we're definitely not going to stop you from doing that. So when we're sorting out and allocating all of the Labour legends, we will definitely be factoring in if you're already really invested in a campaign where you're based. So yeah, that's not something to worry about. And it's definitely not something to stop anybody signing up for Labour legends. So if you know someone who is already planning on taking time off for the election, but hasn't signed up because they already have a plan for that time, they should still sign up. They can just say to us, oh, I don't need a placement, I'm already sorted. I just really want to be full-time involved.
So I think there's a question here that I think Becky might be good to answer, which is someone's like, you know, I have skills managing events up and down the country. You know, what can I do? I think Becky, you had a...
Well, here's the thing. Right now, the most important thing people can do is knock on doors and talk to voters, or get on the phone and talk to voters. And, you know, we have a plan in place. Momentum has a plan in place. There's a strategy, and we need to knock out that plan. That plan is largely not create like large events, but if you are someone who likes to, you know, create events and you're skilled at bringing people together, then you should be a host and host a canvas, or be a host and host a phone bank. But everything that you need to do, whatever skills that you have, figure out how to put it into canvassing or organizing canvases or phone banking and hosting other people to phone bank with you. It's the most important thing that we can do. And I also want to say something to the people that are new to campaigning. We found out in the United States that people who are new to campaigning, they're often the best people to convince voters, right? Because a lot of voters, they haven't been coming out to vote, or maybe they've been voting with other parties, and they've got to come and do something new. They've got to say it's time for a change. And if you can go on the doorstep and say, like, you know what, I don't usually come out and do this, but things have got to change. I thought I have to do something, I have to get out there. And those people new to campaigning are often the best at convincing voters that we need to come over to us and vote for Labour and make a change. So it's so wonderful to have so many of you here. This is the place for you.
So there's another question here, which is it better to canvass closer to the election day? So I think if you've got, let's say you're taking 2 weeks off work and you can choose when those 2 weeks are, it's more important to have those 2 weeks toward the end of the campaign than it is toward the beginning. I think that's when most of the systems will be set up, both in terms of the Labour Party and Momentum. That's when all the CLPs will have all the canvassing dates sorted out. So if you do have a choice, so I mean, there's those of you who are like generous enough to give us the whole campaign, and that's amazing. But if you've only got 2 weeks or 1 week or 6 days and you want to decide where to put it right towards the end. Whatever's closest towards election day, do that. Like I said, if you can't get it close towards election day because you're going on holiday or you've got exams or whatever, essay deadline, then that's fine. We'll still make use of it.
Amazing. I was going to just say a couple of things, which is we are getting so many good questions come through, and we like probably won't be able to make sure we answer all of them. What we are going to do is send a follow-up email, which will hopefully try and answer some of the key questions. And if we don't answer them in that, you still have them. Like there will be opportunity to ask us them in the future, and hopefully when we have that one-to-one conversation with you, you'll be able to get questions answered then. The other thing that I wanted to say is some people have posted in the chat about organising events, and I think if you're on this call and you're thinking about taking this much time off for the election, then you know, Becky said it already, like you guys are literally are like the most important people in this campaign. Like people who are prepared to give up large amounts of time and to make sacrifices over the next 6 weeks so that we can get a Labour victory. You're like invaluable to us. So also just keep your eyes out for the email that got sent out today about becoming an organiser. There's loads of information there about how you can mobilise other people, which is absolutely essential over the next 6 weeks. And there's also information in there about how to run training sessions for like your friends or comrades or you know, neighbours, family, whatever it is, like but also information about phone banks is coming really, really soon. There's a little bit of information up already. We're waiting on something called Dialogue to be fixed from Labour. But yeah, so check out the organiser page, which got launched today.
So there's a couple other questions. First of all is, can we hear more from Becky? Yes, you can. The second one is, her book is called Rules for Revolutionaries.
It's amazing. It's really good.
We're not kidding. I'm not kidding when I say that we expect, like, I got staff that I managed to read the book before they started.
You got me to read it before I started. Can I just say something about the book as well, which is obviously, you know, the election's soon, you might be busy out canvassing. If you don't have time to read a whole book, I would even recommend the first thing to do just be to like skim through these little headings and titles, and then you can go back and dip into it in more detail when you have the time. But honestly, there's so much good advice in here for campaigning. So yeah. Any specific questions for Becky? We've also got so many messages to read through to find more questions. But yeah, if you do have any questions, especially for Becky.
Becky's full name is Becky Bond.
We were expecting some big and difficult questions on the call tonight.
That's a good one.
There is no.
There's also quite a few people asking about international volunteers. So I wonder if one of you would be able to pick up on that.
That was in volunteering in the office.
People who are based abroad who want to help with the election.
So I think we're still kind of basically Steve. Steve Hudson.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's been so many new staff. There's like 3 Steves, 2 Hollies, and like 4 Chloes.
There's a lot of Chloes.
So Steve, who lives in Germany, he's kind of set up Momentum International, I think, which has done a good job of registering people abroad to vote, but also kind of coordinating the actions of people abroad. There is I think I'll get Steve to kind of post in the link for what to do if you've got time and it's abroad. There's still things you can do. We've got volunteer teams that need managing. We've got phone calls that need to be made. There is, like I said, if you can't get out to the doors, there's still a place for you in the campaign.
Amazing. Quite a few people in the this is a really good question. Becky, who do you prefer as a candidate? Bernie Sanders or Corbyn?
I think we just do things in a sequence and we prioritize, and the next vote is going to be here. And so I think what we need to focus on now is making Jeremy Corbyn the Prime Minister.
I mean, you know, that's like asking a parent to choose between their children. You can't choose between Bernie and Corbyn. It's too hard. Also, quite a lot of people were asking for the name of Becky's book. So I'm going to hold it up more slowly.
We'll post the link.
Rules for Revolutionaries. And there's also a longer title, but I usually just call it Rules for Revolutionaries. So yeah, someone's posted a link. Amazing. Cool. So I think that is pretty much. Do you want, maybe you could explain a little bit about the online teams? I'm going to check and see if our special guest is going to make it.
So someone just asked, do we have people doing online fact checking? So this kind of speaks to a much bigger question, which is like, how can people get involved at home? So we've got different volunteer teams. We've got a data entry team, which inputs data we collect from events up and down the country so that you can go to a rally on Saturday, sign up, be in the database by Monday and texted about an event by Tuesday to go canvassing by Saturday. So it's just like a really quick, simple system. We've got the research team, which does stuff like this, fact checking, following up on this kind of stuff. And like all this stuff we're going to put in the email when it goes, after you signed out the form. There'll be so many different ways and so many teams you can join to be involved, including fact checking. Can we do a bit of both? Look, we'll never stop you from doing more volunteering. So you can do as much as you want. Do we have a rough idea of when to expect calls? Great question. The plan is to have them all done by Sunday.
But we are also getting more people. The form's still live. The numbers are still going up. We're going to prioritize people who, like, if you can start sooner, then we're going to try and, like, if you can start next week, we're going to try and call you round first, just so that we, you know, get hold of everyone as soon as they're available. But yeah, we're hoping, you know, over the next week that we'll be able to speak to everybody.
So 2 more great questions. So the first one was about what we're doing to get young people registered to vote. So there was a question in the form which was like, are you a student? And the reason why is we've got some youth and students organisers who we kind of want to get students who are based on campuses to kind of do slightly different asks from those who aren't. And part of that will be youth voter registration. So yes, we do have a plan, and there will be a way for Labour legends to be involved. And the second question was, actually, I think that was it. It was the same question twice. What if you miss your call? There'll be an email address for you guys to contact, so don't worry, you won't be missed. We can follow up and get back to you. Did someone address the university question? If someone could just post me what the university question was.
All right, that's
I think I'm just slightly behind.
University question. Maybe repeat the university question, whoever that was, because it's, yeah, with lots of messages coming through, which is amazing. It's great you've all got questions, but sometimes it's a bit hard for us to read all of them.
So there's a couple of great questions, which kind of like what to do about this, how to do it online, how do we handle challenging questions. We're going to be releasing guides for all this stuff, like how to, respond to Brexit on the doorstep, that kind of. Can
I pause you right there, because we have got our special guests and they are here. Can you hear us, Laura?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm
Amazing.
really sorry. It's very noisy, but I've been out being a legend with 100 people, and we just delivered 5,000 leaflets in the middle of central London in Cities and Westminster.
Amazing. That's so incredible.
I mean, I got to be honest, we delivered 5,000 slightly soggy leaflets.
Oh no.
And I do look like I've been in the shower, so it's not the most glamorous canvassing session ever. But it was brilliant because literally the candidate only got selected this afternoon, and within 5 hours we've got enough people to do 5,000 leaflets in a place where nobody ever leaflets, right in the heart of central London.
Amazing.
If anyone on the call who's not from London, it's just near Oxford Circus. I'm now surrounded by terrible t-shirts and fake London buses.
Nice. Very nice. Amazing. I'm really excited about Westminster and seeing what happens at this election. Laura, I know your phone battery is really low, but have you got any messages for our incredible 233 Labour legends who are on the call right now?
No way! That's amazing.
It's so cool. It's brilliant.
Honestly, it's absolutely brilliant. I've got to say to all of you, I mean, obviously, we're all doing it because we want to transform the country, but it's so heartening for the little team in Momentum. Well, the slightly bigger than usual team. It's really inspiring for us. I mean, it genuinely makes us want to get out of bed that there are so many people from around the country who are engaging with everything. You know, there are moments when the Wi-Fi is broken. The other day we were trying to get some furniture delivered and they stood us up and the furniture ended up in a street somewhere else. Then we came in one day and there were ants in the kitchen. Please don't tweet that. Anyway, all these little things happen. And then we get on a phone call and there's so much energy and enthusiasm and positivity and just absolute determination to do things. It's really, really, really brilliant. And I'm also very glad that you're called Legends, because there were various other suggestions about what you'd be called. And I thought Legend was the best. Oh, my phone is dying. I'm afraid. The enthusiasm is such here in Oxford Circus and Oxford Street that my phone's about to collapse.
Oh, I'm so glad you could join us, Laura. Thank you so much for dropping in. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you are still with Labour activists or managing to talk to people, I hope you're having really good conversations.
Yeah, I will say hi from all of them as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay,
Happy campaigning.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Get nice waves, if you can see those. Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Great wave.
What? Who's mine or
Mark
from in the
Ashworth's
middle?
wave was.
There you go. Strong wave from Mark Ashworth. Thank you very much, Mark. Okay, I'm really glad Laura could call in. Like she said, you know, we're often at our office desk, sort of like typing away all day, frantically trying to organise things, and you know, every single time we you know, do a call like this and we just see all the enthusiasm and energy out there from all of you, it just really instills me with so much hope that we can do this. So thank you so much. That is everything for our call this evening. Final reminder, if you haven't filled in the form, make sure you do it now. Join the Facebook group. If those links could come out again one last time, that would be amazing. I don't know if Matt can do that. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, but thank you again so much. Really looking forward to sort of like being in touch with all of you over the next few weeks. This is going to be a really, really incredible election, and I'm really excited that all of you are so determined to play a really big part in it. So thank you again. If you do still have questions, we'll be in touch, so don't worry. And yeah, speak soon. Amazing. Yeah, best wave competition to end on. Oh yeah, that is. Oh, Dan Connolly's also doing quite well. Yeah, you guys are smashing it. Let's hope you can canvas as well as you can wave goodbye.